Shalom, Israel.
are
We
unbiblical
know that the
doctrines.
Most High is
Repent.
the inventor of marriage, and He sets the standard for this institution. So, are poly relationships biblical?
See, the problem with you Hebrew idiot-like women is you like to take control of your husbands. That's not biblical, but poly relationships definitely are, because if they weren't, then why would Yah Almighty have given us instructions? Exodus 21:10. If he takes him another wife, her food, her remnant, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. The definition of another, used to refer to an additional person. Hopefully, we don't have to break down the definition of additional, but let's continue. So, if he takes him an additional wife, he is commanded not to diminish the works of her as a wife because he has taken on another wife.
King David and King Solomon had multiple wives, but did the Most High ordain that?
Yes, of course, the Most High ordained that. Don't you think that if the Most High did not ordain King David or Solomon to have multiple wives, that they would have passed away when they married their second wife? Don't believe me? Just watch. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 7. And Nathan said to David, "You are that man. Thus saith Yah Almighty, God of Israel. I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you out of the hand of Saul. And I, Yah Almighty, gave you your master's house and your master's wives." So Yah Almighty gave David wives. That's him ordaining that.
King David lusted in his heart after a married woman, Bathsheba, summons for her, and went into her. After becoming with child, David had her husband Uriah killed on a battlefield.
What the hell does that have to do with anything? Yes, King David despised Yah Almighty, and he paid for his sins. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 9. Why did you despise the words of Yah Almighty by doing what is evil in his eyes? You took another man's wife to be your wife, and you killed the man by the sword. So King David having multiple wives was not unbiblical. King David taking another man's life to have his wife is what was unbiblical.
And King Solomon was very wise in many matters. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. When Solomon grew old, his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with Yah.
Yes, we are aware that King Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. However, King Solomon disobeyed the commands of Yah Almighty. I think you skipped this verse though. Those wives that King Solomon had were from nations about which Yah Almighty had told the Israelites, "You must not intermarry with them because they will surely turn your hearts after their gods." Nevertheless, King Solomon still disobeyed Yah Almighty. And he also paid for his sins. If a man having multiple wives was not ordained by Yah Almighty, he would have said that. He would have commanded that. And instead of you taking time out of your day to read your false New Testament where Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, or neither one of them had wives, they rather wash other men's feet, maybe you should take the time and listen to your God. Class dismissed.